So we looked to apply for work from a local authority, and I don't blame them guys because they're under pressure like everybody else with cutbacks and what have you. And we just in the press, the council in the Midlands effectively going bankrupt, and what a mess. But I would actually ask councils and the business leaders to rethink some of these rules, because this 28-page document, in order for me to deal with the council, I have to prove a lot. I've got to prove how long I've been trading, our ethical approach, our environmental approach, our sustainability approach, what we do for our staff, how we protect our staff, all of the lawful things as well as the moral things like integrity. There's a page on integrity in order to deal with this council. Overall, I would say I think councils need to rethink this, because you encourage innovation and employment and people starting new businesses and bringing new ideas and fresh ideas, yet you kind of contradict yourself by saying you need to be trading 3 years, when actually that doesn't really matter for a lot of products and services, because even the big guys, some of the multi-million pound businesses that are supplying councils, they are using an underlining service which is done somewhere else. So it's actually pointless, really. If you go bust, it wouldn't really matter anyway. So why are you withholding new businesses from dealing with you? But anyway, that aside, it's a very, very complex process and very difficult to win fairly low cost value, low profit projects from the council. So knowing how hard it is to win business from a local authority, and rightly so, they should do their due diligence. Of course they should. Making sure they're dealing with the right people with all these policies and essential things in place to protect them, to make sure you get the right price, the right service, and all these things. Apart from when you then do business and call it an emergency and hand hundreds of millions of pounds of contracts to people that look like they're friends and family of ministers and politicians, and they take that money. So where we're based, we want to recruit local people and invest in our area, and yet the central government has awarded hundreds of millions of pounds which has been immediately taken away overseas, even reportedly with those beneficiaries buying jets and yachts. And yet I've got to fill in a sustainability report for my tiny little business, which is legitimate, and this business hasn't even got an email address, a website, a phone number, and barely ever any revenue and no staff. And they've took our money. That money I paid back, you took. And you was already rich. You was already wealthy. You've inherited millions and property and all land. And you took that from my pocket and my neighbour's pocket and my pensioner neighbour who can't get support for horrible illness. You took that out of our pocket and the pockets of doctors and nurses that can't get pay rises. How dare you? In my eyes, this is the biggest theft in British history, and it has to be dealt with. And another thing I think is a problem, I'm not blaming the police. We are victims of fraud, and the police and all of the surrounding services are not cut out for modern theft. If you went to a bank, I think, with a balaclava and a shotgun in an organised heist, the police would be all over it. There'd be helicopters, armed police, swamping the area, and you're probably going to get done. Now, the police are cut out for that today. But when was the last time it happened? You tell me, in your town and city where you live, when was the last bank job? The old way that people did heists. When was it? I can't think of one. And I'll tell you why. For a start, the banks have moved anyway. Half of them don't even exist in a lot of smaller towns. And two, people know they're going to get caught. It's not the way modern theft is done. So you need to rethink and reinvest in the skill that's required to tackle the proper theft which is being done. I'm not talking, of course, yes, if someone bursts into a newsagent's with a knife, yes, they should be tackled and given 10 years. But That's not where the big money is stolen. The big money, which used to be in bank jobs and the great train robbery and Hatton Garden, digging under the road, it's not where theft is being done. It's being done online, and it's being done to vulnerable people like our old next door neighbour. So, Mr. Prime Minister, this is what I want. Stop telling me what I want. I want, number one, I want our money back. Go and find the people. If you don't declare that you're going to go and get our money back, then I will never vote for you in 1,000,000 years. As well as getting our money back, I want justice. I want these people treated as the criminals they are. Greed on the largest scale. And I want you to recover, like you do with drug dealers, rightly so. I want you to recover proceeds of crime. Go and get that yacht. Go and get that jet. Go and get the mansions and lock the doors and sell it. I want all of our money back. If there's a declaration to go after people wrongly paid, and I know what you'll do, you go after vulnerable people that you think you can win with, because that's what historically HMRC has done. Not gone after the huge enterprise corporates. No, you go after the easy wins, the low money and large volumes of it. This money's been stolen on a huge scale. You need to start with the billions and the hundreds of millions. Go and get it back. So I want you to take every penny in a transparent way and spend it in where it's needed, which for me personally, of course, it's the NHS, which you torpedoed. It needs it desperately. Give that money back to where it should be, and maybe some of it to create a real proper skilled clever fraud department that can really counter fraud and bring those people to justice. And don't say like you said to me, don't say, well, this overseas, it's very difficult because they're not here. Stop them getting through. My business gets 3 to 5 fraud attempts every single day just on the phone. You're all getting them. We get them on our phone. How are pensioners meant to distinguish between the real bank and these people? The real, the TV company we all know that I get called about every day, that it's not performing, needs you to go on your laptop. Who is stopping these people from getting those calls through? Because vulnerable people are losing money, and you don't have the skill to prevent it and bring those people to justice. Get real, get with the times, and use the money you bring back to create the best counter fraud department in the world that says, no, we are not going to accept this anymore. It's completely out of control. Lastly, I think the third thing on this topic would be, do you know what? I feel like you owe an apology to us. You owe an apology to all the people that have been brought down and tackled unnecessarily by you and your department. And in particular, small businesses, because I feel like, I've always been entrepreneurial and I want to change something because I come from a poor background. I didn't have no inheritance, and I want to change something for my kids and their kids in the future. And I want to feel like, not words, not, a campaign, a poster campaign. I want to actually hear someone, see someone and feel valued. You need to really properly invest in smaller companies, give them a real good chance. And actually, for the local councils, I want to see them be braver and actually think about what they're saying in the local business community. You don't want those companies going bust because you need their rate income, right? So you've got lots of things that like a fluffy PR, but in reality, like I said, you can't even trade with the council. Really strictly speaking, if you're under 3 years old, you couldn't sell the council a pencil. So how on earth is that kind of the right support? Come on. You need to rethink how you deal with your local business community and also your own public. And for me, I'm owed an apology.